Sky Mobile sponsors the transfer window on Sky Sports News.
Gary O'Neill has said he expects Matheus Nunes to remain at Wolves beyond Friday's transfer deadline day, with Manchester City yet to make an improved offer for the Portugal international, who has stopped training in a bid to force through a move. City last week saw a £47 million bid rejected for the 25-year-old, who moved to Molineux for a club record £38 million last summer. And O'Neill said the champions were yet to return with a better offer.
Yeah, we're obviously disappointed that he's decided to remove himself from the group. But transfer window is 4 days left. Let's see what happens. As far as I'm aware at this moment, unless anything's happened in the last 90 minutes, there's been no improved bid. If he's our player again, which I assume he will be, if he's our player come the 1st of February, 2nd of February, sorry.
September.
It's been a long few weeks. Feels like January. Come the 2nd of September, then he'll be part of the group, and we'll speak to him around what he needs to do and where we need to get him to. It's sort of one of the problems that the season starting while the window's still open can throw up. So I can understand when a big club come in for you, it can be unsettling, but there are ways that you should and shouldn't deal with it. And I have my own views on it that I will share with Matheus when I get the chance.
Absolutely. What's your gut instinct? Do you expect to see him again?
Yeah, I do. I don't like to really answer hypothetical questions because at the moment there was a bid, it's been rejected. He's our player. We haven't heard anything else from that. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no other bid coming, and we'll have Matheus Nunes to help us try and achieve something again this year. So I think that the next few days will be key to how things unfold. But as far as I'm concerned, I need to get Matheus back in with the group, and then we go from there.
And more positively, a few incomings as well. Enzo Gonzalez seems to be one that looks very close.
There's a few bits going on. I won't confirm any names, but there's a few bits going on that we're trying to do. So next few days we'll be busy, I'm sure.
So we know Manchester City are looking for a creative midfielder after Kevin De Bruyne was ruled out for several months. Lucas Paquetá was an initial target, but their focus has now switched to a player with a slightly different profile to the Brazilian. Now, Nunes had an underwhelming first season at Wolves with just a single goal and an assist. But when you look at his stats from his last season in Portugal, which was by far the best campaign of his career, it tells you a huge amount about his strengths, especially when it comes to his dribbling ability. That season he formed a brilliant partnership with João Palhinha, who's now excelling for Fulham. He's got many strengths, but his trademark is his ability to take on midfielders and his ball-carrying ability. In that season, more dribbles than anybody else in the top Portuguese league, which is quite incredible for a central midfielder. We saw some of those driving runs against Manchester United in Wolves' first game of the season, and during his last season in Portugal, Pep Guardiola described him as one of the best players in the world after Manchester City played Sporting in the Champions League. But from a Wolves perspective, after spending £38 million on him last summer, they struggled to find the best way to use him, not least because of the midfielders they already had at the club, the likes of João Moutinho and Ruben Neves. And when you look at where he's played for Wolves over his time there so far, you can see they've really struggled to find a position for him. 4 different managers, and he's played in even more positions, really. Steve Davis, he was an interim charge after Bruno Lage left before Julian Lopetegui came in. He admitted himself he found it difficult to know where to play him. So under Bruno Lage, he played in more central areas, and then Lopetegui came in, utilising more on the wings. The one issue of playing him slightly further forward is you take away one of his biggest strengths, which is driving into space. He's best when he's carrying the ball from deep with the game in front of him. So if he was to join Manchester City, you could see him starting alongside Rodri rather than playing in a number 10 role or out wide. But that versatility is definitely something that which will appeal to Pep Guardiola, which is why he probably wants him so much. Harriet, with this in mind and what we've seen there, can you see Manchester City going in one more time in the next couple of days and trying to buy him? Because we think Wolves probably want around £60 million at least at this stage in the window.
Well, it's 100% a profile of player that they need after the injury to De Bruyne, and Pep Guardiola has openly spoken about the fact that that's not only going to be a couple of weeks, it's likely to be months that De Bruyne is out for, and it's really trying to replace his creative output. Now, arguably no player in the world can do that, but they've identified Nunes as a player that will come in and make an instant impact. The thing is with Manchester City, we've seen time and time again that they will not overpay for a player. And once they have their valuation, they don't want to overpay for that. We've seen that with players like Cucurella, far back as Alexis Sanchez, Declan Rice earlier on in this window. Even players that Pep Guardiola has spoken about as one of the best in the world, as you just mentioned there. I don't think they'll want to pay way above the odds, because on the other side of that, Pep Guardiola is so good at finding internal solutions. We've already seen Foden play in that midfield role and really come up with that creativity. But I think they want to bring in a player that can link up well with Haaland. They don't want to really reduce Haaland's attacking output as a result of De Bruyne's injury. They've lost Gundogan as well this summer. So Nunes has been identified as a target that would solve a lot of problems. But Wolves are going to hold firm. He's their player at the moment. He's crucially important to them. They've had a difficult summer in terms of working within tight financial constraints. So at the moment, they're going to hold firm. Whether Manchester City will pay above the odds, it remains to be seen, but their track record, it doesn't look like they're going to do that.
Yeah, it would be a big blow for Wolves if they were to lose Matheus Nunes, but there could be an incoming soon at Wolves. Girona's Uruguayan defender Santiago Bueno will have his medical today after the club agreed a deal worth £10 million for the centre-back.